I think of someone who's kind of secretive, maybe a little sleazy.
Intellectual, responsible, leader, and intelligent.
Usually like a late middle-aged man in like a suit.
A male who's more specifically white than any other race and who kind of has more money than other people is also like kind of the stereotypical politician, white, male.
Male, white, old, rich, privileged, someone that has already been pre-exposed to like power, like their parents are like have already been like in the system basically.
Like the demographics, I think of like an old white rich man.
Because we've always had male presidents and people don't like change, and I guess like some people's mindsets are just like, well, if this has always worked, why should we do anything different? Plus like some people are scared of powerful women.
I think there's still a lot of bias around women leading a country. I think a lot of people still think that women are inferior when it comes to leadership and a lot of other things, but I also think a lot of men maybe see women as unable to lead because they think we're like emotional or like unable to control our emotions when, you know, we have to make an important decision. And so I think just a lot of the stereotypes around female leadership still persist today.
A lot of women do not run. They are in the pipelines, like there are women becoming educated, like 50% of like students in law school are female, like female women are getting educated, but they're not getting asked, because like male politicians get asked to run, but women are not getting asked to run. But women are put in like districts that are not favorable to women. Also, I know like incumbency is a very big problem. Men have privilege because they have been there longer.
They're kind of afraid that if a woman president is in the presidency, then there might be change that they don't like.
I think it's just kind of getting over the stereotypes of like women as like the like lower gender or whatever, and kind of working towards gender equality. Like it's not something that can just happen in like a day, you know, it's a really gradual process.
It's like this social bias where like from a young age, like we always see usually men as political figures. So girls don't like grow up thinking like, oh, I want to be a politician.
People are kind of afraid of change, and like, usually in the past it's always been male, and people are kind of afraid to have more females in government, and I feel like because of that, women are afraid to run.
Again, I think a lot of people don't see women as people that are, you know, able to lead and able to really be successful in politics.
Sometimes when you think of a politician, you think of someone with like a strong voice that kind of, I don't know, is very stern, and maybe they don't have that portrayal to the public.
And it's like we're still like moving towards gender equality and we're still getting there, but it's a slow process that takes time, and we're just kind of like maybe like in the middle of the process, but we need to just like keep going further and further and keep electing more women, and you know, just move towards that future where it's like Congress and like the General Assembly is like 50-50.
Probably, hopefully within the next 10 years.
Hopefully, maybe within like the next 10 or 20 years, but based on what happened in the last election, I don't think it'll be anytime in the next couple elections.
Hopefully in the next election in 2020.
Oh my god, I thought this year, you know, or like last year, you know, but obviously that wasn't the case. Right now,
Within the next 12 years.
Well, this year we almost had one, so I feel like definitely maybe within the next 8 years, but more specifically maybe the next 4.
10%, 17%, 13%.
About 20, 30 of them?
Roughly maybe 35%?
31.
I'd say maybe 10%.
Pretty low. I'm gonna go with 15%.
Probably less.
Compared to Congress, it's probably a little bit higher.
But it's probably higher.
I think there would be more women in Congress than in the General Assembly.
I'd say it's roughly the same.
North Carolina is going to have a lower percentage. It's really low.
Because like everybody's an individual, it doesn't matter what race or gender you are, and being a woman like gives you a unique perspective that not many men have. So it's really important to have that perspective and have an equal government. It should be representative of everybody.
Because I think it's important we can show that we can lead and we can do just as well as a man in government. And I also think it's important for like women's issues and like women's rights to have women leading and women in government, because you know, like, men, yes, can represent women, but like when it comes to women issues, the people that know them best are women. So I think it's important to have that representation in government.
Completely different perspective than a male, and that leads to roughly half of our population, so there's no reason they shouldn't be present.
50% of the United States population is women, and in order to be representative of the United States population, we need to have women representation in Congress and in the White House and in all forms of the legislature.
I think it's important for them to be represented in government because they're representative of the population. Like, the government should be representative of the people. We shouldn't have like 80-some% men, because that's not what the population's like.
Descriptive representation is very important. I know women bring like a different viewpoint. They bring up different issues. Women are not represented, and like we need representation. Like obviously a male's not gonna know how to represent them accurately, or like know what kind of issues they need to pass, what policies they need to implement.